YouTube is not trying to find viewers for videos, they're trying to find videos for viewers. That's a very important distinction. An important metric is, did people actually click on your video? Then it's view through rate, VTR. And then it's...
What is it with these big brands though? What are they trying to learn and like soak up from the creators?
I think it's attention. Attention is the currency. Fun fact, YouTube is the #1 streamer, period. That's part of why I'm bullish on this product, because I think giving creators an equal playing field with traditional ads is where we should be going, because I think creators understand how to make for YouTube better than anyone.
What risks do you feel brands face if they don't fully embrace YouTube?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 131 of the 505 podcast. Today we got Emma Jennings in the building. Now, she's been at Google for 19 years.
Crazy.
She is the person that is behind helping the biggest brands in the world create paid content on YouTube. And it's so interesting to hear how much has changed over these 19 years at Google and how these brands are trying to now find creators to be partnered up with them and help share their message.
She shared a story about how when she was first starting out, trying to convince brands how important search was, SEO, and these brands were like, I don't really see it. And to think about and to talk to her about how much has changed in those 19 years is crazy. Also, how brands are utilizing creators. It's taken a while for these big brands to understand the power of YouTube and the power of creators. And so hearing her talk about how she's trying to convince these brands to bring in these creators, part of their marketing strategy for like the movies and ads, it's really interesting.
She also just finished a short film that I helped her with. I was the assistant director on Redeemer. Her and Steph Young wrote this film. So we talk about her directorial debut, what it was like to, be in the hot seat and bring her vision to life and be on set. And it's her first time ever doing that. It was so interesting. The film turned out amazing. I can't wait to watch it. I don't want to hold you guys too long. Let's get into the episode. Come on, Emma, give me the one-handed crack. Wait, whoa, stop. You got to pick it up. Yeah, then go. Boom.
But like with confidence?
Yeah, you did it
just
with
a big dent.
No, you did it great. It's just like that crater.
Double dent.
Yeah, double dent. I don't know if
points off.
I don't know if I've ever seen one.
It's very delicate.
It is quite delicate. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do it. It's like, it's got to have the light touch. I just shot it into Emma's eye.
How disrespectful.
That's got to lower some points.
She's a guest in our home.
I know. That's ridiculous. Show me how to not do it. Kostas will help you.
I had an 8.6 earlier today though.
Beautiful.
Wow. Elegant. No splash.
No
Another
nuts.
8.6. This is the first time. The first time you've beat me on the show. Blind
So
squirrels
let's go.
do
So
find nuts.
what did we get?
That's going to be like
crater.
a 3-2, and this one's going to be like a 7-1.
Okay.
It's just
Cheers.
not as good. It's
He still pads his stats.
At least I didn't cheat.
You didn't cheat. You didn't cheat at all. And you almost had a 0. Last week's guest just completely ruined the game and actually cracked the drink before the show started. And I was like, that's the only one we got. So now we're shit out of luck.
That's too bad.
Yeah, and we can't actually do it. You just got back from Dude Perfect's HQ. I want to know what it was like when you walked into this insane headquarters. What was that experience like?
And would you say that it compares to what we have going on here?
It's kind of a similar vibe, right? Very similar feel.
Midway through the show, we're going to have you do some trick shots, so don't worry.
This was your trick shot. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. This is HQ3. I probably can't give too much away because they're going to do a reveal, but it is everything you'd expect from the dudes. It was bigger, better, slicker, engaging. They put us through some sports trials that made me feel very bad about myself, but it was great. And they were generous, and I mean, everything you could expect for guys who've been around that long. Just super, super exciting to be there. Honored.
What do you feel like? I mean, there's someone who has seen incredible success. They're in the top 0.1% of YouTube channels. What do you feel like about Dude Perfect specifically that has allowed them to see the success that they have on YouTube?
Yeah. I mean, they said it themselves, and I think they talk about this. Like a few things. One, they're crystal clear in their mission. Right? Like they know, they wrote themselves a brief, and I'm sure it's changed over time, but they want to be the biggest entertainment brand for families in the world. Like they're coming for Disney, I think. Anyone can do trick shots. Like that could be your thing. You could do it right now. but there's something about them and their chemistry and the fact that like they finish what they started. Like it took them 900 and something attempts to shoot that basketball off the top of the Vegas, what was it, the Strat?
Yeah, and
they just did it forever. That's what it takes. Not everyone will do that.
It was like a 3-day thing, right?
Yeah.
And on the third day they got it.
Can you imagine just waking up? You're like, dude, we sucked yesterday.
Yeah.
We gotta
do it again. You just can't
We gotta
stop.
get back up.
Yeah. And I think that for even filmmakers, like I think or writers, most people give up at a certain point and they don't. Like they just have this like unflinching, intense like drive and competition to see things through, and like that's what separates them.
Wow. Yeah. So it's like having such a clear vision and sticking true to it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right. But you're doing it. I mean, you're doing it too. Look at you.
Here. 131. Your episode 131. Just crazy. I feel like that's an awesome
that's a
number.
Good number.
It's a great number to be on the show.
Love it.
You said that they want to compete with Disney. I don't feel like that was something that was even possible 10 years ago. So what has changed in the last decade to allow a creator brand to be able to compete with some of these insane conglomerates that we see today in the media?
I don't think Disney's Disney and like that, they have their own thing. I just think they are talking to the same audience. And I think that's what's changed, is that the audience really, like the power is with the audience now. Like the audience can choose who they watch and when and how. And I think that is what they understood early on, is the control they have about, you know, over their content and the connection with their audience, and really just like the trust. Like their audience knows when they watch a Dude Perfect video, it's something you can watch with your family. There's not going to be any coarse language. They're very selective about the brands they work with. They have to agree on it, right? Like they probably have said no, I imagine, to a lot of stuff. They've been very good at that.
And I think that's been important for like us too. What we've taken from those big creators is not taking every brand that comes our way, because I feel like the trust that we have with the Rocks is something that it's like you can't be bought. Like that cannot be bought. It can't be faked. It's like, this is who we are. This is the brands that we align with, and we're not going to tell them to check something out if we don't think that it's something that we'd actually use or they would find value in. Yeah, it's really interesting. What do you feel like from being at their HQ? What are the things that like micro creators can take from some of these like insane brands that you've been able to work with and put into the things that they're doing at like a very small level?
Yeah, I mean, there's you know this better than anyone, because you all have worked on the commercial side, so you know what brands care about. They want brand safety. They want to feel like they can get their messaging across, but they also want you to put your magic on it. They want you to help with the creative. I think what micro creators need to understand is there is a give and take. And I think one of the biggest things is figuring out the business part of it, is who can be your person to have those delicate yet important conversations with brands to make sure the brand feels really good about what you're making, but you're also standing strong with what's going to work or not work on your channel.
What metrics or analytics do you really look at on the channels that you're working with? What's like super important for you?
Oh man, click-through rate.
CTR.
You got to look at good old CTR.
Okay.
Because YouTube is not delivering videos. Like they're not trying to find viewers for videos. They're trying to find videos for viewers. That's a very important distinction. So they're trying to find video. The algorithm is trying to serve videos to people that they're going to want to watch. And so an important metric is, did people actually click on your video? Number one, was the thumbnail, did it work? Then it's view through rate, VTR. Did you keep them? Did they watch? How much did they watch? And then it's, like, did you deliver upon the promise of the thumbnail and the hook? Like we can see, and I look at stuff all the time, and we can talk about your channel, but at a certain point, people drop off because, maybe that hook, that thing you like promised at the beginning, like it happens early or it doesn't really pay off. And then by then you've lost them. And I think that's, you have to really think hard about what you're telling people about your video, because you could title it whatever you want, but at the end of the day, YouTube's going to know, like, did you actually deliver something meaningful to people?
God, it's so interesting to just look at the analytics and see, like, if we made something the other day that just absolutely bombed so hard.
Sorry.
And no, it's okay. But it's like such a learning experience because we're like, wow, our title and thumb were not aligned. And the people fell off at like a quarter of the way through instead of staying for like 50, 60, 70%. And like we're still actively trying to crack said code and try to get people to stay for 50 to 70% of a podcast. Do you think the big pods are getting like 70% like view duration?
I mean, I don't look at that. I will say YouTube is the number one place where people discover podcasts and watch and consume podcasts.
That makes sense because we're getting nothing on audio.
That's interesting.
No growth really on audio. It's stayed quite consistent.
Yeah.
Week to week, it's like the same group listens on audio, but YouTube changes every single week.
And it's so hard. I mean, I would say I look at ads. My job isn't advising creators, actually. It's advising advertisers on how to learn from creators and make content and ads that work well. That's what I think about.
What is it with these big brands though? What are they trying to learn and like soak up from the creators?
I mean, I think it's attention. It's like, how do we keep attention? Attention is the currency. So how do they get their message across right now in this like super fragmented world that has a million options for people? And when people are cutting the cord, when people aren't watching linear, when they're skipping, how do we make something in an ad that actually like works?
When did that switch come, and when did you start understanding like, hey, something's happening here with creators? You've been working at Google for 19 years now, and when you first started, this wasn't really a thing. So when did that switch happen of, hey, we should start paying attention to this YouTube stuff, these creators, and big brands need to start paying attention to this?
It's been a slow roll for sure. I mean, there's been so many eras of creators at YouTube, and UGC was not always a good thing in early days. I remember I did a campaign with a beer brand, and they did a stunt, and it was not well received. Although some fans started playing around with like the content and like making memes out of it, and they were horrified. And I think part of it was they're an alcohol brand, so they should be. But also like they just didn't. It wasn't a thing you did. You as a brand, you would never. You want it to be so highly controlled. So I think one was that shift of like ceding control. I think who is a creator has changed. It used to be, big names only. I think now, 40% of people right now consider themselves a content creator. 40% in surveys we've done of people are like, yeah, I'm a content creator.
That's an insane stat.
I know.
40% and still just booming every day.
I mean, you clearly are. I don't know if I would consider, I don't think I'm comfortable saying that, but I guess if you post something, if you make a reel, if you post a short, if you make a YouTube video instantly, like, whereas before, think about it, like there are people who've directed commercials who are like, I listened to an interview today with, I forget which actor, and she's directed Modern Family twice. It's the actress who was on Modern Family. What's her name?
Sofia Vergara?
No, the blonde one who's in Happy Gilmore.
Oh, the mom.
Yeah, she does not consider herself a director.
Really?
She's like, I'm a baby director. So it's like it's a change in the thinking of, owning, like it's okay to claim the title content creator. So it's a long-winded way of saying, I think all of that had to shift for like brands to come along for the ride, to be like, oh, okay, like, yeah, you all are, you're content creators and we should listen to you, and that's where the wind is blowing, and let's work with you and let's trust you with our brands. And it's sort of undeniable. It became undeniable at a certain point. Doesn't mean it's comfortable for everybody.
A title I would give you though is director. You had a very badass
nice
film that is going to come out very soon that I'm super excited about. So I actually was Emma's AD for her directorial debut.
Shout out Steph Young.
The co-director, co-writer on the film. What did you learn from making your first like short film?
Oh my God, Braden.
I know.
Thank God for Braden.
There's so much to talk about.
Did he do a good job?
Braden was the best. Braden was
This was a hard job for me, dude.
Clutch move.
This is so different.
Best decision.
But her and Steph made it so easy to work with like two badass directors that knew their vision. They had a very clear idea of like where everything should go. And so I was equally learning tons from you guys on the shoot.
That's nice.
And just like your process and like how you were thinking about certain things. So I want to know though, what do you feel like were a few of the biggest takeaways? Because I feel like we have a lot of people who might be wanting to direct their first short, or maybe, one day direct a feature film. What were some of those key takeaways?
Okay. Have a clear brief. and this is an advertising thing, right? Like have a clear brief, write yourself a brief. We literally had a Google Doc and it was like, why are we doing this? Also, again, shout out Steph Young. She was like 3 things. Like we're doing this to learn how to make a film. We didn't go to film school. We've worked in marketing half our lives. We kind of know that. And then, but like, let's do this. This is like a cost-effective way to do something. Second thing, we have a story we want to tell. Let's just make something. Like, let's be the people who finish, right? A lot of people start and don't finish stuff. Let's finish something. And then let's like use it as a proof of concept. And let's see if we make this thing and we'll enter it in some festivals. Like if it takes off, cool. We know we have a feature length story in our head that's even more unhinged than the version you saw. So that we had a really clear brief, and then we knew to hire people smarter than we are.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know about how to pull focus.
Right. Lay down.
Sorry.
Lay down.
She's like, I could care
She's chasing
less.
her tail.
Yeah, she was
Unbelievable.
legit chasing her.
She's like,
Rice,
look at
Lay
me.
down, Rice.
Lay down.
I wasn't paying attention to her for 5 seconds. That's what happens.
She's
You're
a
so
needy.
good girl. But like hire smart people who actually know and can speak the language. Like that is like not trying to do everything yourself, but actually like working with smart people was a good decision. And then having a partner like Steph and I, like she ran laps around me sometimes. And
No,
she
you guys were in such, I feel like you guys have such different strengths. Like
totally.
You know what I mean? That was very like, I noticed that on set at how good you guys were being like, this is my thing. That's your thing. You do that. I'm going to figure out how we can wrangle this.
Remember her with like wardrobe? She'd be like, that earring needs to change.
Yes.
And meanwhile, I was like writing new lines in the script for when the pool noodle broke. It doesn't make any sense.
I forgot about that pool noodle.
The pool noodle. But it was just like such a great, it was also really affirming that like you know more than you think you do. And when you throw yourself in a situation like that, a high pressure, like 106 degree, no permits bonanza. Shout out to Keith too, wherever Keith is. I know he listens to this. You know, you can do hard things, and you can like, I just loved it. And I loved like being that person that people could come to and be like, all right, this horrible thing just happened. What do we do? And I was like, all right, here's, you know, you just kind of know.
Dude, I remember legit, this is actually unbelievable. It's 7:55. Like, we haven't even started shooting yet, right? And I hear like on the walkie, like, we need a medic. I'm like, what happened? We just got here. And one of the gaffers had like rolled his ankle on this little ledge. I'm like, oh gosh, all right, let me get some ice up at the thing. Like, let's get you situated. Let's get you like some ice and Advil. And it's crazy because like on a set where you have so many different moving pieces, you're thinking about the script. You're thinking about you're talking to your actors. I'm over here trying to wrangle everybody and get us all in a spot
on time
at said time. And then we're like, we need lunch at noon. And it's like, there's so many moving pieces. I feel like working on a short film or any type of film commercial, it's like organized chaos the entire day, and trying to figure out like if something happens, it's like how can we work with this brutal thing that's happening right now and still figure out how we're going to like execute said thing, you know, the whole day. It's like, oh, the light's messed up now.
It's problem solving. That's filmmaking.
It's problem solving 101. It's kind of crazy, but you can't just be like, oh, we're screwed. Like, you just got to keep moving.
What's great about it is there's no consensus. And if you work in a corporate environment or you work on a team, like a lot of what we're taught is like decision making by consensus. Like everybody has to agree or there's a big conversation. The great thing about being a director is you decide. Right? Like you're like, no.
Yeah.
And there might be some people who disagree with you, but you can be like, no, it needs to be read, or like it needs to, and you might have a sidebar, or, you know, I learned actually a lot of it tapped into my skills as a parent because I'm a mother of 2. So it was like, I have to actually like connect with people on a human level, make them feel heard, and then consider that thing, and then maybe be like, you know what, let's try it that way, but let's also do it this way.
Have you always wanted to direct a film, or is that something that like later on, as like, you know, we're in year 19 at Google, you're like, I could be a great director because you killed it. Like, and this is something that's totally new. Like, you know, talk to me about kind of wanting to get into this and then just saying like, we're doing the damn thing. We're going to make a film. We're not going to just let this be like an idea that sits around.
I should have done this a long time ago. That's the other thing. Like, don't wait. I think, you know, what was terrifying to me was the technical part. And I think that's what's hard about YouTube often is it's intimidating to think about all the things you have to do to like set up the cameras and the lighting. And like, yes, you can just do it on your iPhone. There are easier ways around it. But I got too caught up in the how and how hard that is, when at heart, I just wanted to tell a story. And I've always been a writer. And as a kid, I was like a crazy storyteller. And I think figuring out the medium in which to tell that story has been a process. Like you can do short stories, you can write screenplays, you can, there's different ways to tell stories. And I think this was one where I just got really lucky finding Steph and finding a partner who was crazy enough to do it with me and be like, let's just make something. We live in LA. While you're in LA, we might as well make a movie.
Yeah.
Why not? And then the next part, we think, I know it's hard, but like we know how to market. So we already have a whole marketing plan in our heads of like how to make this thing go.
One thing that was badass that Emma and Steph did is they had all of these TikTok ideas and just different things to show for the film after. Not just like, okay, let's go make a really cool film. It's like you have these two women who are insane at marketing, and then you bring all of that into the film, make a cool film, and you're like, this is how we're actually going to get people to see it. We're going to run it in these festivals. I thought that was very, very cool and different than something like I would not have thought about that. And we were on the set. They're like, we need to get these pool noodles in a very specific way. So that'll be like a perfect poster. This is a great TikTok. And she had Chloe like helping out with the TikToks and doing stuff using your camera. And it was very interesting to just see how all of it just comes to life.
Well, in my day job, mostly I work with the studios and the streamers, and they, and they're incredible to learn from. And have you ever been on a studio lot, either of you?
We went to Warner Brothers before.
I interned at Entertainment Tonight, going into my senior year of college.
And so did you work on the lot?
Oh yeah.
And isn't it magical? Like
yeah.
There's something about the air there. You're like, there's history, there's vibes. I don't know what it is, but like every time I'm lucky enough to walk on a lot, and I just like something changes, and I'm like, I need to find a way to come back here. Mm-hmm. And the model's changing. If anything, like it's coming to YouTube, right?
Sure.
But the irony is like there's that, that sort of prestige and history over on that side. And I loved it. And I think the one thing I've learned is like a lot of movie making is actually the marketing. It's not the movie, it's how it's marketed.
It makes sense. I mean, you see so many of these films that they spent $200 million to make, and then the marketing is just awful. There's no stuff on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. It's just like, it's just billboards or it's just print. And it's like, I feel like the films that I've wanted to go see as of recent, they're hitting me on YouTube and they're hitting me on TikTok.
Right.
Consistently. I'm like, I'm getting this BTS of the actors or actresses like doing some funny little thing, or like it's like a BTS moment of showing something in the film and then how they shot it. I'm like, I'm way more interested to see this now, not just by like the big billboard that's out on La Cienega or something.
Totally.
You'll even see creators make reviews,
Yes.
like no spoiler review. Like I just went to go see, these are the 10 films I saw in the month of April or whatever. And I'm almost, I pay more attention to that, I feel like, than maybe like when a random trailer drops. I recently just put out a spec piece that I made. And so you talking about making your short film, mine was not nearly
Abercrombie?
Not Abercrombie. It was for Away Suitcases.
Ooh.
And I think your point about like there's always other people that can help you out is such a great point, because my buddy Jay wanted to direct more. I wanted to start getting into filming more like commercial stuff. And it's like, there's always people out there that you can partner up with. Don't feel like you need to have it all figured out yourself, or that you have to even just do it all yourself. So that's one thing. You talk about movies, and just, I want to get into how much marketing has changed in those 19 years that you've been at Google. Like, what was marketing like? Let's take it back 19 years ago, and how has the landscape changed?
Yeah, that's actually insane.
Oh my God.
Paper.
How much time do you have?
Ton.
Okay,
All
I'll
day.
tell you
Tons
a
of time.
story. When I first started, I started at Google as a temp, and we weren't verticalized. So the way we're organized, give or take consistently to date, is there's sales teams. And I was a part of one that looked after the big advertisers on Google, which meant we are helping them understand what the advertising products are and how to do it and what and their strategy, right? And at that time, back in 2000, I don't even know what year that was, 2005, all we really did was search. And that was a huge deal. Like, you know, our teams figured out, and I think Susan Wojcicki, who's incredible, and I'm so sad that she's no longer with us, she helped figure out how to monetize search. And that was groundbreaking if you think about it. And so we were helping brands figure out what keywords to buy. And on my first day at work, I went in, and my job, I was at the lowest rung of the ladder working with big advertisers. And I was assigned an adult toy store. So I had to go home to my mom and dad that night because I lived with them, and they said, honey, how was your first day? Who were your clients? And I had to say it was Mrs. Fields Cookies and a toy shop, because I spent the day researching words into ad groups, which is like the little buckets you put words in. And there was like a latex bucket, a lace bucket, a beads bucket. I mean, it was bad.
Oh my gosh.
And so that I was writing copy, and I was looking for keywords for brands like that. Because they were big spenders. They were like really leaned into the internet. That's who was advertising with us. And then eventually we verticalized, which meant people were like, okay, let's have a retail team. Let's have a consumer packaged goods team. Let's have an auto team. And so then I worked with the food and beverage companies for years and was trying to convince them that, you know, search was a thing. And I remember I had a meeting with a very old school beverage company, and I had this huge presentation with all these stats, and you're trying to show them how big their product is, how many people search for pumpkin pie recipes every holiday, or, you know, here's like wine pairings. And this guy who was like the CMO, just like I could tell was not getting it, or like at least didn't believe me. And the one number he kept getting stuck on was the fact that 86.6% of Americans were online. He didn't buy it. He's like, I don't buy it. I think that number's bogus. And later his assistant came up to me and said that his name was like Harold. She's like, you know, Harold doesn't read email. I print it out for him, and he handwrites the response, and I type it up. And that's who I was selling to in early days.
You go, Harold needs to figure it out.
Yeah, Harold
needs to wake up.
I hope he did, because his business needed it. So that was the beginning. And then we bought YouTube, and then it was sort of integrating the YouTube side of things and video, and everything then was like viral videos. It's so funny that still hasn't really changed. People are still obsessed with trends and virality, but it was like, you know, brands like, how can I take over the YouTube homepage? How can I brand it? How can I, you know, wrap it in my brand? And it was a lot of our product teams and our engineering teams and our policy teams saying like, hey, should we do that? Should we not do that? Is that going to hurt the authenticity with it's the same questions you deal with, right? Which is like, what decisions should we make for our business, but also kind of balance our audience and what's important to our users.
What year did you strictly start to work with the brands on YouTube specifically? Because I know they were bought for 1.6 billion by Google, I believe. And
seems like a steal now.
It's insane.
I know.
It's great.
We looked it up.
It was pretty much free. I mean, it's like insane. I think we looked it up. You guys are now worth anywhere from it's like $400 billion.
It's crazy.
YouTube. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I worked in sales for years, and then in multiple offices. And then when I got married, we moved from New York, where I was based, still doing sales, but working with like the newspapers and the app companies and social media companies, and doing the same kind of thing, just selling them, advising them on like, hey, New York Times, here's how you should advertise on YouTube to drive subscriptions. Here's what you should do on search to drive volume, whatever.
Is it always like tag team like that with search and with YouTube, or now is it like only YouTube?
They're the sales teams at Google sell lots of different products, but it's search and tons of products therein. There's tons of nuances to search. It's gotten incredibly complicated. There's all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
But there's really just one. The hope is that it's like one point of contact. So if you are the New York Times, you've got your Google rep who's there that you call when you're like, hey, how do I do this? It's more complicated than that.
Okay.
Google's not known for being a simple company. However, the team I'm on now is a creative team. And so we're a creative team dedicated strictly pretty much to video and YouTube, and helping clients navigate that and make really, really, really good ads and content.
So if a brand comes to you, let's pretend like we're a brand, the 505 podcast wants to come to you, and we're like, hey, we think that we should be advertising on YouTube and trying to create more content that's going to resonate with people. How does the conversation usually go with these like humongous brands?
Yeah, we either react to something they have, like you might come to us and be like, hey, here's this commercial we made for TV. How can we make it better for YouTube? Like, what edits should we make? How, like, usually it's like a react, like let's react to a piece of work or a brief or a script. Or it's, hey, we don't even know where to start. Here's our goal. Here's what we're trying to do. Or here's a problem. Like, hey, our audience is 94.4% male. How do we get more women, Emma? Is that a problem you're facing?
That is a problem. 90%. 90% men.
So that's then we would work together to look at like, okay, what can we do to change that and why? You know, what are your competitors doing? What are the formats on YouTube? What feels authentic to you? What is the stuff you 505 are specifically good at that like is the lane that you want to run in? Like Dude Perfect didn't start out trying to do everything. They did one thing super, super well. That's what sustained them. But at a certain point, you have to start to grow and experiment and like test things. So it's like, I think you all are probably still in that like full speed ahead, build the thing, tweak, iterate, but like really do what you're doing well. And then you'll have the liberty to like test some stuff, see what other kind of like offshoots you can do.
That's what I feel like with Nick, we've been able to do with like the testing stuff. Cause I feel like Coast and I and Chase were so busy with just like the pod itself. And then when I was working at the Lakers, it's like, you're working another job. Now I feel like I even feel like I have less time now. Damn. It's like, it's actually crazy what running your own business is like, but we do feel like we're flying at the seat of our pants. And then Nick has allowed us to say like, hey, help us with the other YouTube stuff, because I think, and our hypothesis is the other videos that we're making are what's going to like actually move the bigger needle. Because I think it's really hard to get a new person to find us on YouTube and be like, let me hang out with these 3 people for like an hour.
Right.
You know, but it's way easier to be like, come hang out with us for 10 minutes. And if you like that, we could have a college education for you for free that you could come watch. Like,
right.
That's our big, I feel like our pitch is like college for free. And you don't have to go to any boring school, and you get to hang out with 3 pretty fun people and like learn about this stuff and how to make it a job.
And your short, you talked about shorts, and like shorts is a low risk, low lift place to play, right? So you could do that too. Are
a lot of these brands, do they expect to just go like instantaneous to the moon? Or what are those conversations like when they're like, Emma, we spent like $1 million and it just didn't work well? Like how do you advise them on like, hey, we got to like stay the course? Like these people are making, 300 videos before they even hit any certain level of people caring about the things that they're doing. How does that work?
So I mean, I'm advising them on how to make good ads. Yes, sometimes content, but there's usually teams at YouTube proper. Like if you are the Late Show or, one of the big media properties and you're really investing in your YouTube channel because you're monetizing it. So if you're Jimmy Fallon's team, you've got someone at YouTube who's like looking at your numbers, looking at your channel, helping you kind of figure out which new tools and products to opt into. Like there's a whole team that does that. My focus is how can I help a new movie open using tactics like that team would tell Jimmy Fallon. So I'm trying to tell Sony, all right, here's why I think a listicle really makes sense for Venom 3. Like, here's like what I know. Here's the intelligence I can bring to you, Sony, about your audience and about the movie. Like if you give me everything, I intake all the stuff about your brand, your audience, and my platform. Here's why I think this is the video you should make. And it's hard because that's one video. They're moving on in 2 weeks. Like they've got the next title to worry about. And so I don't even get the delight of working with them long-term on a channel.
How often are you getting a herald nowadays being like, I just don't think YouTube is really the move. And you have to convince them like, no. This is X, Y, and C, Y, or
X, Y, and C. X, Y, and C.
I couldn't remember if I said A, B, and C.
No, it happened.
This is
1,
X,
2, 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
I think I don't even hear from those people because I think they're not going to pick up the phone. But what I do get more is the chance to like be like an ideas person. And then sometimes I see stuff get made that I didn't even help produce. Like I'll just go into a meeting, I'll share some YouTube trends. They might say thank you. They might say, none of this is good. But then ironically, 3 months later, I see that almost like to a T, the idea that I pitched happen on the channel. And like, that's a win. Like, I don't care if I recommended the production company or had a hand in some of the creator choices, like just looking at who they, like, that doesn't matter. But if they make something good for YouTube and I see the comments are positive, like that's a win.
That's a W.
And what do you feel like brands are missing the mark on? When you see ads from these big brands and you're just like, that's just not it. That's not going to resonate with their audience.
They're getting a lot better. I think I got to give brands credit, and I'll just speak specifically to the studios. Like they've done trailers for years and they've done an incredible job. They have it down to a science, right? And I think it's really hard to stop doing that when it's been working so well. And so what they've done is they have, like you talked about behind the scenes, the making of, they're leaning into more of that. And they're even testing running some of that as ads, and it's working.
I've loved the ones of Glenn Powell. I can't even remember which movie it was. Oh, Twister. I loved those ads, and it was super interesting to see like how the CGI was working. And even I feel like for people that aren't in this like creator, filmmaker, whatever space, I was reading the comments because I equally am like you, where I'm like looking at these ads. I'm like, let me see why this is hitting or why people are commenting and engaging with it. Or how does this have 200,000 likes on an ad? And like, why are people engaging with it? And it's like, it's so interesting to see like Glenn Powell's so hot, and it has like,
like from Braden.
You know, I didn't write that. It's got like 5,000. Like I may have written it on a ghost account, but it's interesting. And then people are like, "Oh, the BTS is so cool to see," and you see like all these different touch points that different people are resonating with on all the platforms.
Yeah, like that's what I love it when they just throw stuff up there strategically. Like, but they aren't being as precious about like, no, this is like the one trailer, and like. Again, those are the heroes. Like trailers are the heroes, but occasionally they'll take a big swing with something else. They'll do BTS, they'll do scene lifts. Scene lifts are a big thing in my space where they literally take a scene from the movie. They might run a little mini trailer before it, but then they'll give you a taste of the movie itself, and those can do really well. And then there's of course using creators to translate the thing. So sometimes like you need a friend to be like, here's why you should see this movie. Or like, here's the 5 things, or like, here's me reacting, or here's why the fashion is really cool. Like you need that, right? You need that trusted person. I think creators have stepped in to fill that void. So
how often are you saying, hey, we should look at a creator in said space? Is that usually a part of the conversation, or is it more like, you know, let's figure out how we get your product in front of more people?
It's almost every meeting. But almost every meeting, the studios are asking about it. So that's huge progress.
That's awesome.
And it's not massive.
That's big for us, right? Big for people like us.
They're often thinking about it in a little bit of an old school way, which is like, how do I get creators to post about my movie on their channel? Where I want to get brands and the studios and all of our clients is, how do I hire creators to make the ads? Like that to me is the ultimate W.
I think you're right.
Right? Like, not just using you for your likeness, but actually using you behind the camera and in the edit bay to make the spot. Like I think there's a world, I think it's not too far away, where like a line item on every media plan will have trailer or like whatever commercial hero, 30 second, 15 second, and then like 2.5 minute creator shot piece. Yeah. And like, and the beautiful thing about AI, because there are some good things, is in ads, you can just put all the ads like that you make in like ad served or AI served ad systems, and like in Google AI, we can just kind of determine which ad performs the best to the right audience at the right time. Like as a brand, you don't have to figure out which ad to serve. You can just sort of let the AI serve it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not doing a good job.
No, that's actually unbelievable to think about. And I feel like for those listening that are interested in getting into this space, it's like, this is the gold rush. I feel like it's the gold rush for creators still. And I think that the industry, I don't remember I looked this up the other day, but it said $1 billion, and now it's at like a multi-billion dollar industry, just the creator economy as a whole. And it's going to be, I think you're so right. I feel like, imagine if you had your favorite YouTuber ever and they partnered up with the next Glenn Powell movie, and they're out there making their little behind the scenes video. They have Glenn for like 2 seconds in like a shot. It's going to do way better than probably the traditional like trailer that we're so used to seeing. And That's just that's a crazy time period to be in. I think you're so right.
You bringing up Twisters. I remember seeing like the Mission Impossible or Top Gun, the behind the scenes. Granted, that's like Tom Cruise doing like crazy action stunts. So seeing the behind the scenes of that is like super interesting. I also remember seeing, this was more for a commercial, but it was Timothy Chalamet sitting down with Martin Scorsese, and they had filmed a commercial for Bleu de Chanel for the new cologne, and they, I guess, brought on Timothy Chalamet to be like the new ambassador for them. And just hearing them talk about the process of working together, and then they even put out like a behind the scenes video that is so interesting, and it made me want to go watch the spot more. I still haven't seen it. I don't know if they've gone live with it, but just, you're so right, like the behind the scenes being part of the marketing strategy makes you so much more interested in seeing like what the process was like.
And that was long form, right? Like that was a long, I know that, and he speaks French in it, doesn't he?
Yes.
And I think some of the comments were not kind. And I think he speaks excellent French as a wannabe French speaker myself. Timothy, go Timothy.
That's funny.
But it's true. And I think I just saw a series of videos by Burberry. I don't know if you've seen these. These are these incredible spots. Each one features a different Burberry coat and a different British, like, iconic figure. So Olivia Colman is in one. The actor from Saltburn is in one. I forgot his name.
The handsome dude.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Barry.
Yep, he's in one, and they're like these mini films. But there's one and they're all long and they're all slow, and they kind of break every rule we have, because YouTube is all about like hook them quickly, get their attention, brand early, like commercial, right? For YouTube. This was different. They're slow and they're like, you wonder what you're watching. But the one that has the most views is like a 10 or 20 minute live stream. Looks like it's a live stream of a British soccer player in his Burberry coat sitting by a lake. That's it. Now, the retention isn't great. Like I'm imagining that like people are probably like wondering what it is and like looking at it and clicking away at a certain point, but it has the most views because it doesn't look like an ad. So that's the other thing I love, is when like creatives come up with ways to do stuff for brands that like clearly delighted people. Like people love these, but they don't look like commercials. They look like film.
Is that a fine line that you're trying to draw with the different brands that you work with, of like, do we want this to feel more addy and hook them in, or do we want it to feel more organic?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day we'll try to balance it internally, but like we know you have to brand things before the skip button, right? A good old, for skippable ads,
so
good old TrueView.
We gotta get it in before 5 seconds.
Gotta hit them in. However, I actually did a really incredible campaign for HULU, Only Murders in the Building. I think I showed you these like crazy ambient rooms a couple years ago, where they were an hour long. Ambient rooms are typically like vibey ASMR like rooms, and HULU took a huge swing in helping us create these rooms in which they're customized for the 3 main characters. If you've seen the show, there's Selena Gomez's character, Martin Short's character, and Steve Martin's character. And the apartments they live in are like extensions of themselves. And based off some data we had, based off of what they told us about their fans, and based off of what was happening in culture at the time, we said you should make ambient rooms. And not only should you make these videos for each apartment, because the people will just love them and they're going to feel cool and like the show, but you should hide Easter eggs as people watch, because that's not something you do in ambient rooms. Typically nothing happens. But if you just start to like drop little things, people are going to notice and go crazy. And sure enough, the minute we launched the first video, some fans timestamped every single moment, including moments that were not actually like supposed to be timestamped, like random like sound effects are being timestamped, and people loved it. And then the smartest thing HULU did is they didn't just post them on their channel and walk away. They ran them as skippable ads. So Braden, like you go to YouTube looking for a cooking video, we serve you this HULU quiet ad. And like on average, people watched of an hour long ad. Guess how much people watched?
It was an hour long.
Long ad.
An ad.
And you've gone to YouTube to watch something else.
Oh, okay. I'm going to say like 2 minutes.
Should I Brenda it?
Yeah.
15 to 20 minutes?
Yeah.
No way.
Like 16 minutes on average.
We're still wrong. Don't think you're right.
We say,
what's Brenda?
It's my mom, and I'll call her, be like, guess how much this deal was, and she'll be like, 57,000. I'm like, you just ruined the game.
I love Brenda.
It's not fun anymore. Every time. No,
you went high, and you were right. Like
that's crazy.
So that that could have like bombed terribly for us, but they created something so good and so unique and so in line with true to their brand. Like the worst thing that happened is they delighted their fans, but the best thing that happened is they got people to not skip and to like toggle around, to kind of investigate, to become detectives.
Does that now change your strategy when you're talking to these brands of what you feel like might work? I feel like so much of what you see on YouTube is like Mr. Beast retention editing. Let's hook them within the first 3 to 5 seconds, and this first 30 seconds even has to be like big and confirming the click and everything. Does this do these long form 1 hour long ads, seeing success in that, is that kind of changing maybe your strategy of like, all right, it's worked here, is there a way that we can find a way to work for another brand?
Yeah, I mean, I think even Beast is over retention editing. He said it. There have been articles where there's a fatigue there. I think it's, I think anytime you like swing too far in one direction, you're going to see it swing back. Like vlogs have never gone away. Look at podcasts.
Yeah.
Right. I'm really bullish on long form. And I know for a fact from our research, like in terms of the metrics that my advertisers care about, the sweet spot for a metric called consideration, which means like, are people going to consider my brand, is 2 to 3 minutes. So actually 15 seconds, 30 seconds is not long enough. You need someone to spend 2 to 3 minutes with a brand to actually be moved. So I think, yes, I think it's great for creatives, because I think it means there's more stuff we can think of that hasn't been done before, because that's a different number. That's not a traditional media unit, 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, 2 to 3. That's crazy. So even like with the ads that you guys are making, is there a typical range? I know there's some outliers, like we have this hour long, but is it typical like, hey, standard practice, we're going to make it anywhere from like 1 to 5 minutes, or what do those look like, even if it is a skippable ad?
I mean, the standards are 15s and 30s, of course, 60 seconds. These all they're coming from TV, right? These are like TV, this.
Okay, but when they put just like a TV ad over to YouTube, do you find that you're like, guys, it's just not hitting the same? You're good. Is it just not hitting the same as if you guys did something YouTube specific? Like, are you trying to push them in that direction?
Not always. Like awareness, because a lot of them just want awareness. Awareness is a brand metric of like, do people now, can I ask them later, have you heard of this brand, right? Are you aware of the brand? And you can still be quite short with that, 15s, even 6 seconds. So like short is good. You don't have, and I think sometimes you can be really creative within that space as well. But I think for storytelling, for brand consideration, for engagement, for time spent, like I think we can definitely go longer. And I think CTV, connected TV, has contributed to that as well.
Let's talk about that, because you told us that's the fastest growing group of creators.
They're some of the fastest growing creators on the platform are those that are really like CTV centric.
And what does that mean for CTV? Well, for those that have no idea what that
YouTube,
is.
Us.
Fun fact, YouTube is it's good for, I think it's good news for you. YouTube is the number one streamer, period. Like, and I think Nielsen data has shown that for the last at least year or so. So over 10% of, I think, views coming from the living room are from YouTube. That's more than Netflix, more than anyone else.
That's got to bother them a lot.
Yeah, it would bother me. But that means, I mean, how often do you all just watch YouTube on your TV?
Okay, well, we're kind of we're outliers, I feel like, because our TV, we're just not big TV guys. But I do watch YouTube. If I'm getting into bed at night, it's YouTube.
On your phone?
No, on the laptop.
Okay.
If I had a TV in my room, it'd be on a TV.
Right.
I just don't have a TV.
Yeah.
But like, what do you feel like you're doing? You watch a lot of TV or a lot of YouTube on your TV, I feel like.
Not really. I'm a laptop kind of guy. This is how I watch YouTube.
This is amazing, because like laptop is not, I haven't seen a lot of data around that. So.
Really?
Yeah.
This is how I watch YouTube.
Tell me.
laptop open, and I'm scrolling on the homepage, and I right click and I open up like 10 to 15 different tabs of all these videos that I want to watch. Go to the first one, watch it. As soon as I kind of lose interest, I go to the next one.
Close the tab.
But sometimes maybe I'll pause it. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of over this one. My attention span is like so short that I'm like, let me watch 30 seconds of this one. I'm going to come back. I still want to finish it, but like, let me go to the next one because I need something new. But I watch YouTube a lot on my laptop or phone during like lunch. Or breakfast.
It's funny though, because a lot of the stories that we're getting tagged in these days are on TVs.
Yeah.
I'd say like, honestly, all of them are either in the car or on a TV, which is crazy. So they're they're editing or they're just like kicking up, like eating food, and it's on their TV, which is so weird.
Yeah. I wonder about, I mean, I know for like the ambient rooms thing, that to me reminded me of like the HULU log video that you used to buy on VHS and like put in your VCR, and like at Christmas you'd have your like HULU log. It kind of and I think Netflix still does that every year. It's like that, like people were at home, it was the pandemic, they wanted to feel immersed in something, so they would like fire up the ambient room videos on their connected TV at home and then work or study or sleep or whatever. But I don't know, I wonder if, I know as a family we watch a lot on the TV, and like we'll pull up stuff, and my husband watches a ton of like truck videos. He's always like upgrading his crazy Tundra that you've driven past a million times. Insane. He's like on V3 of that. So he's always like learning. He goes to YouTube to learn, and that's a big, I mean, that's a huge, like I think the how-to space, the edutainment space, like I think a lot of that might be fueling that.
I mean, we've made our whole careers off YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, literally. It's actually insane. I've learned how to drive stick shift off on YouTube. I completely learned how to drive stick on YouTube. Right,
that's impressive.
Before I got the car, I went and found this dude who had my exact little Scion, and I learned from him how to do it. And I was like closing my eyes, visualizing like as he's telling me.
That's so funny.
It's crazy. And then even in college, like my entire career, I owe to YouTube, which is so weird.
Me too.
So weird to think about. I know. It's crazy.
I know.
Come on,
good. Yay.
go. But it's just so interesting to think about these next like few years with the apps. And now that you guys have more competition, what does that look like as you're trying to talk with these advertisers? Because now they're probably maybe in these meetings like, why don't I go to TikTok, or why don't I go over here?
Yeah.
Because it is where I spend the most time on YouTube, like by far.
I was going to ask, what do you feel like is the reason that makes YouTube different than any other social media platform?
I mean, the reason I think there was an article that said YouTube is the jewel of the internet. Like you can keep everything else, but give me YouTube. This is written by a Wall Street Journal like op-ed. It was like, and it's a desert island kind of scenario, right? Like if they could have nothing else, what would you keep? And I think they even asked this in surveys, and most teens and Gen Z are like, YouTube, if I were stuck, because you can get so much there.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I'd agree with it too.
You can
if you had to take everyone, Nick, if you had to take everyone out, what would you pick? YouTube. Okay, we're a YouTube household.
I always say that
So
Twitter
nice.
I always say that Twitter is kind of my favorite social media, just because like it's so great when anything pop culture happens, you can just check.
You're still calling it
check
Twitter though.
X,
yeah,
whatever.
I will not
So
call
great.
it. I'm not calling it the other one.
But I think
it's Twitter.
If push came to shove, if I had to choose one, I'm going to YouTube.
I think it's because it's it's archivist in a way. It kind of, it's like, the Alexandria, the Library of Alexandria for our culture. Like you can find anything there. You can learn, you can feel good. I know there's a lot of studies that say people actually leave YouTube feeling better, which I think is rare for social media.
Yeah.
And I don't think YouTube is fully social media, nor do my clients consider it fully social media, although it has overlap. So I think that's why it's sustained. Hi, friend. I think it's there because it serves a slightly different role in people's lives. It's lean in, right? Like you're searching. It's again, one of the stats that Harold, that client, would not have loved is it's the number 2 search engine. We used to say that in meetings all the time. Like you go to Google or you go to YouTube. And of course now you search for other things elsewhere, but like,
which is crazy.
Yeah.
That Google owns the second largest search engine.
Yeah.
I don't know if it still is. Again, I'm not here as an official Google representative. I'm here as a personal friend.
As a friend. Yeah. No.
If Google Legal's watching. But yeah, it's, it's up there. Like, and but that behavior hasn't changed, right? Like you're not just getting served a feed. There is a feed function, but you're also searching, you're active. things are recommended to you, but you're also like, okay, what are the 505 guys doing? Let me go search and find them. There's a community element too. I think that's super different. Like,
100%.
When I've looked at like book talkers versus booktubers, I did that recently, and I just saw the comment section was like so much more positive, at least for the creators I was looking at on YouTube. Like they were just talking to each other in a way that was like super lovely, and like, I don't know about the other platforms if that's as easily done, but it was really, really cool to see.
I think the comments on some of these TikToks that I see are some of those rancid things I've ever. It's like some of it's funny, but some of them like, dude, like, is this where it's going?
You have a nice comment section.
They're kind. They're kind to us. It's like, it's very nice. We love the rocks.
TikTok is funny though because it has the feature where it's like the most liked comment goes to the top, and so people are like actively trying to say the most crazy shit and try to get the most liked comment.
This is funny. Yesterday we were on a shoot with Nike Swim. There were 6 kids that were talent, and I asked all of them. I was like, "What do you guys like watch? What do you feel like? What apps do you use if you're allowed to use them?" They all said YouTube. Every single one.
Whoa.
Of them. Yeah, every single one was
also
like,
not surprised.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised either because I was like, I feel like your parents aren't going to probably let you have TikTok or Instagram.
How old?
They were anywhere from 5th to 8th grade. But all the kids, every single one was like, I love YouTube. Confidently said that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, YouTube's like my favorite by far. And I was like, this is just so interesting to kind of see where this is shifting, because I remember before I had left the Lakers, they had done a study that I don't think is real. I like actively do not think this is a real study.
Okay, Harold.
No, I just don't. I know, like, you
Harold
can't.
Jr.
I agree with you.
Let me tell you, this is
Who did the study? The Lakers?
No, they paid some media company to do it. And I'm like, they lied to you, and it's fine. But they said that for Gen Z, it was Facebook specifically that was leading the way. And I was like, I just don't think that that's true. I think that marketplace for our generation is huge. Marketplace, like everyone's buying their furniture, and like you realistically, as soon as you move out of your parents' house, you can't afford to get a $4,000 couch because couches are ridiculously expensive.
Totally.
The kitchenware, all that stuff. So I'm like, marketplace I could see, but I feel like it is YouTube. Like I think it's YouTube or Instagram is a number 2 of where Gen Z is hanging out, or TikTok. Like in that you could jumble up those 3 in that range, and I feel like that is where people are hanging out. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. What do you feel like with the brands that you've been able to work with? I mean, we have a crazy list here. We got Disney, we got HULU, Samsung, Apple. I mean, like all these brands advertise on YouTube with you guys. How do they look at content from an organic standpoint versus a paid standpoint?
Their own content or a creator?
Yeah, their own content.
Okay. So sometimes it's the same. Sometimes, they'll put a piece of content up there, like the Burberry example, right? Like maybe, I don't know, I don't work with them, but I imagine some of that was supported by ads, just boosted, targeted to certain audiences. Same thing with trailers. Trailers are content. Like it's all kind of this, like to me, content from a brand is an ad. Like branded content is advertising, right? And the lines are super, super blurred. Like originally my job on this team was branded content, and now it's become actually more ads focused because like they're kind of like blurring those two worlds. I think sometimes brands will make ads unlisted because they don't want a lot of negative comments on the ads. And so they're careful about what lives forever, on their channel versus like what's an ad. But not if you're Apple, not if you're Nike. Like they're putting their stuff out there, and like people go to their channel wanting to see their commercials, wanting to see their ads. Burberry just recently as well. Like I looked at the Viore channel, and they have all kinds of stuff. They have their ads mixed in with their like meditation like guides, and like I don't know. I think brands understand that the role of a channel is to create a place for their customers to go and spend time and get to know their brand better. And I think ads are a way to pull people into the brand. And sometimes we recommend use content as the ads because maybe that'll do something different.
So they'll kind of just post it, see how it does. If it does well, then we'll put money behind it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Or sometimes we put money behind it and we just know like this is how we need to get this out there, right?
Can you tell quite instantaneously if using your guys' data, if something is going to do well, or if it's like, this isn't one, we should pull it?
I mean, sometimes you can see like the audience that it's reaching organically is not the right audience or the broadest audience. So you have to put money behind it and then target a specific audience to see what happens with that audience. So sometimes we just made something for a sports adjacent brand, and we were targeting general sports fans and soccer fans. It was a soccer related product. And the ads we made with creators didn't show any lift with soccer fans, but neither did their business as usual creative. We call it BAU creative, which is just like their TV commercials. And that's actually fine, because if you think about it, the soccer fans are already bought in. Like, we're not going to move the needle as easily with people who are already fans, but we did show really huge lift with general sports fans. So the ads we made with a creator, basically it was a creator juggling a soccer ball, talking about the product and saying, if you keep watching, you'll see whether or not I can hit a goal or hit a crossbar or do a thing, which, as you all know as creators, is a really smart tactic, because you're going to watch the end of the ad to see, does he do it, right? It's like Hot Ones. Can they eat the 10 spicy wings? So we did that in an ad, and that worked really well to get general sports fans interested and aware of this sports product.
And what specific metrics are you looking at to be like, okay, this didn't hit the super hardcore soccer fans, but this hit the general soccer fans?
Yeah. There are these surveys that you've probably been served them on YouTube, where it says, do you remember any of these? It's like, check the boxes of the following products.
Yeah.
That's called a brand lift survey. And so brands are looking to see, they will show those ads, and sometimes you'll not know any of the products. Sometimes the products are like made up products, because we are doing a control group and a test group
to see if you're lying and just pressing something.
Well, yeah,
random.
we also want to see, like, if you were served the ad, but Costas wasn't. Costas, right? Costas. Damn it.
It's fine.
Was there lift? And so we'll serve the same ad, to one of you, not to the other, or maybe we'll serve you the TV ad, we'll serve you the creator ad, and kind of see like what the differences are. Wow. And then we'll come back later at a certain time and ask you questions.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are some of these budgets looking like for these huge brands? Like, they're coming to you on the phone, you're kind of throwing out these big numbers, but then part of your job is also going back maybe the next year and being like, you spent this much last year, let's up it by like 50 or 100%.
Yeah. I mean, there are these upfront, that you're talking about, the upfronts,
yes,
which are that's the way Google and a lot of media companies make money, is these upfront deals. So securing upfront commitments from the media companies, from brands. So that's another team that does that. They're like amazing negotiators, and hopefully, we do such a good job delivering value for clients. Like, it's not a hard sell, and they can just see that we're moving the needle for them. But my job is to make ads that work. Like, my job is to make ads that don't suck and that have a good experience for the client, with good creators, good production companies. So when they come back the next year and they've got these production budgets with us, they're like, oh, I want to work with Emma and her team again. And like, how do we raise the bar? Like HULU coming back and being like, all right, you killed it in season 1. You killed it in season 2. What are we going to do for season 3?
Is there an ad that you've had your hand in that has just outperformed like everything else that you've worked on?
So one of my favorite things I ever did, I mean, I love the Only Murders work. We won a Clio for that, and a Shorty, and like a lot of stuff. So that was cool. Never won that many awards. But one of my favorite things we ever did was for Glad Press and Seal. Shout out to Clorox. They came to us. So they are, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Press and Seal product. It's like a cling wrap.
Wait.
It's like saran wrap in the kitchen. And so this brand came to us and they're like, we want to work with creators. We don't know what to do. And I was like, write a brief. So they wrote a brief, and it was like all this like marketing speak. And I was like, well, what's special about Glad Press and Seal? It's like a plastic wrap. And they sent me this focus group data that shows how stressed people get about leftovers. It was like emotional. It was like focus group quotes, and people were like, the minute I get the leftovers in the car, I'm already freaking out. I'm like, how am I going to eat this? Right?
Yes.
Is it going to go bad in 2 days or 3 days? Like, what's the turnaround time on this? And like, is it going to spill? Right?
Oh, spill's a big one.
Spill, like you're driving. So like they get it in the fridge, and already you're just like, oh God, it's like lurking in the back of the fridge. So what the brand was like, it's actually this incredible product because It's super, super strong. So you can put it on the top of a bowl of pasta and like you can stack stuff on top of it and it won't like fall apart. You can see what's in there so you know it, you won't forget. Like it solves a lot of those challenges. And I was like, oh man, like this is creative gold. I'm like, and how sticky is it? And they're like, it's really sticky. So I brought in a few production companies, and one of them, Portal A, love those guys, had the idea of putting a creator upside down in a kitchen that they would build on a ceiling with bowls of burrito ingredients held in place by press and seal to physically demonstrate all that we just talked about.
Wow.
So we hired Hannah Hart, who's an OG incredible YouTuber and a food YouTuber and just an awesome person. And we put her up in a rig in a studio, and she did a whole video upside down.
How do they do this?
There was a medic on set. Don't worry.
No, but how does this work? So I can't even like fathom it. So
I know.
They're upside.
It was wild.
There's
we like pulled her up with pulleys. She had special boots on,
okay.
And then they held her in place while her face turned red, and we had to bring her down every 2 minutes. And she tried to make a burrito upside down, and she would open the bowl and the beans would pour out onto a tortilla that was waiting below. And she would do that, and it just was...
And the camera was like up high.
The camera's facing her. You'll have to Google
We gotta watch
Upside
it.
Down Kitchen, Hannah Hart.
Okay, wow.
And it was epic. And what was so great about it is it like, she got to do something awesome, right?
Yeah.
Like her fans loved it. The product was the hero. Like it's right there the whole time. And like the ads worked. And so it was an organic video that lived on her channel because it made sense for her channel. But we also had cut downs. And so, because even if you don't know who she is or you know nothing about YouTube, like if you saw an ad of a creator that is like flipped upside down and she's like calling that out, like wouldn't you be like curious to watch what's going to happen? Yeah. So that's like the trifecta. Is like, how can I make everybody win?
Wow. So let me ask you this. When a brand comes to you and you're like coming up with the creative, what's the process of finding the right creators to then partner with the brand to make the ads?
Yes. So we always work with production companies. So I'm never like recommending specific creators, but our production partners, who are the ones who like manage that, are looking at data to say, okay, who's a good fit for the brand, who's available, who's interested, who's passionate about the product, who's safe for the brand to sort of work with given whatever elements. They're doing all that vetting, and they come up with these creator lists, and then they'll kind of go back to the brand with a number of creators, and the brand will rank them, be like, all right, here's like my top 3, and then you'll go out with like sort of loose offers from there.
How much of the ranking is determined by like engagement rates, or is it just kind of like the type of content that the creator makes?
Yeah, it used to be, gosh, so much of it has changed. Early days, it was a lot of that. I mean, YouTube, less engagement. I think other platforms are much more about engagement rates. YouTube, it was about views. It was subscribers and views. What's the subscriber count? And that's still fairly important. But because a lot of what I do now are just ads with creators in them, the creators are talent or the creators are spokespeople. They're not living on the creator's channel. So we don't actually need your viewership. Like we want your fans when they see it to be delighted, like Costas is in this ad, that's awesome. Yeah. But I'm not depending upon that as a brand. So it's more about fit. It's more about like, okay, does it make sense that this creator's in this spot? Like, how have they been in the past? What's their reputation? Are they dependable? Are they
gonna do some crazy stuff?
I know.
You can't do it.
Yeah, like they're looking at all of that. Like I think brands are super savvy. So many of them have their own influencer teams now who will take that list and then go off and like really dive through it, look at their channel, dig deep. And then our partners are amazing, and they might be like, you know what, you love that creator, but we found out he or she did something with a similar brand 6 months ago. Like this doesn't feel good. Like we all kind of agree, like that might not work.
And then what KPIs are you guys using to determine the success of an ad? Are you able to directly correlate like this many people watched the ad, and then from watching the ad, this many people went to go see the movie or go buy this product?
Yeah, I mean, there are different ads that do different things. So some ads you might see like a subscribe now button where it'll be like subscribe to Netflix, right? Like from the ad. So we can actually directly correlate like, oh, these creator spots drove conversion. So we've done that actually. We've done that with some of the subscription-based models. So, and I'm sure you know many brands that are subscriber based, right? And we can run 5 spots, 5 creators, and then pretty quickly be like, this creator drove way more subscriptions for you than the other 4, just right off the ad. But others are more nuanced, like brand lift, the thing I talked about earlier. Like, did that creator change perception, change favorability, change awareness levels? But it's all so much easier to measure now. And that's part of why I'm bullish on this product, because I think giving creators an equal playing field with traditional ads is where we should be going, because I think like creators understand how to make for YouTube better than anyone. So let's actually have them do the making.
Yeah, do the thing.
Yeah.
Wow, it's so cool. So over your 19 years at Google,
Keep saying the year.
I just think it's crazy. I think it's like awesome. Like I love that you like have worked there for so long, and like I feel like most companies aren't. They like a lot of companies don't value their employees, and you guys clearly do, or people wouldn't work there as long. And like I feel like the people that I have met that work at Google love it. They're in love with it. And so what have you learned from other people at Google and from like leadership roles that's really stuck with you?
I mean, it's at Google and actually outside of Google. I think there's and again, this is something I take to heart. Like, I think there's a big difference between being a manager and being a leader. I think they're not necessarily the same thing. I think lots of people are managers. It doesn't mean they're a good leader, right? I look at someone like Susan Wojcicki, who was the CEO of YouTube, who passed away recently, and she was such an incredible leader. And I never got to work with her directly, but I saw her a lot. Like, she was very visible. She's the one who instituted our family leave policy. Like, she's the reason why Google is such a special place to work today, because she was the one who's like, we should give parents good time off. And because of her, other tech companies followed suit, and that became a thing, right? Like, she changed the world. But the thing that like really made Susan special is, so my brother actually works at YouTube as well. He works for one of the vendor companies. He's in charge of facilities at the YouTube campus. And he works with a ton of executives. He helps fix their offices up. He's hanging their Picassos. He's doing security stuff. And he said he's met all of them. And he said Susan stopped to talk to him. And he told her the story of how he got the job and how I worked at Google forever. And the next time he saw her, she said, how's your sister doing? How's she doing in Playa Vista? Like, she remembered. Wow. And this is this incredible genius woman who has a million things to worry about and a million things going on. And I think, to me, like, that's leadership, is like really connecting on a human level. Like, she didn't have to do that. He's a contractor, you know, like he's running around all day, like, you know, figuring out like where the leaks are. But she actually cared. And I think if I were ever in that kind of position, or even like a position well below, I would never forget to really check in with the people on the ground and like check in with your lowest level employee, because they actually know what's going on. They know where the leaks are.
Mm-hmm. Is there a piece of advice you got when you first started working at Google from someone that maybe stuck with you early on and has carried through? It's
from my dad, actually. So my dad is an incredible retired now lawyer, IP lawyer, and his thing was always about integrity. He's like, whatever you do, do not sacrifice your integrity. And it's actually what's kept me at Google, because there have been opportunities to go to other companies, but I just felt like I'd be selling a little bit of my soul, because I've always believed in Google as a great company with a great mission. I've always loved our mission. I really believe in what we do. I did come here in a Waymo. I think we're the self-driving cars. Woo! So I've always really checked in with my like moral compass and the integrity. And like, sometimes that can get tough when you work in advertising. Like, you may not always believe in the product that you're supporting, but I think there's a way to do it that aligns with your values. And that's what's kept me there. And that's what's kept me like happy and supported and growing.
What is one of like maybe the biggest challenges that you've had to face over your time there?
I mean, I think like a lot of tech companies, it's a flat company. Like, there's not a lot of levels, and that's good and bad. It means like there's not a lot you can do to grow in terms of rank. So you have to find other ways to grow. Like, I think other companies, my title would be very different. My scope would be very different. But I wouldn't be able to work at this place with these incredible humans, like the smartest people in the world, the kindest people in the world. Like, just, yeah, I think that's the trade-off you have to make sometimes, is like, do I do something for my ego or do I do something for my well-being? And I think YouTube and Google have always felt like the latter for me. Like, this is what well-being looks like. This is what a healthy work-life balance looks like. This is what investing in good looks like. But yeah, sometimes I look at people who like made some like really badass lateral shifts to other companies who have like insane titles and scope and like huge teams, and like, that's awesome for them. And I sometimes am like, ooh, did I make the right choice? But then I look at what I get to do every day and drive on that movie lot and feel great.
Yeah.
So.
Sticking on trade-offs, how do you balance data-driven like metrics, KPIs, all that kind of stuff, and creativity, sentiment with people watching these ads? How do you balance that?
The human, yeah. Like the data and the human, yeah. I mean, that's what we do. We use data. So like, you look at the HULU example, right? Like the HULU example is like, we got data that told us like ambient rooms are a trend. HULU told us like our viewers love playing detectives. But then on a human level, we were like, would we want to watch these? The answer is yes. Like, I think this is cool. Like, I want to watch. I'd spend some time digging around this like murder mystery room. And I don't know, sometimes there's like this spidey sense that goes off when you're like, this is a good idea. And this feels scary. Like, if it feels a little bit scary, sometimes that's good, right? It doesn't feel safe. So I don't know. I always kind of try to tap into like, would I want to watch it? Often though, like, you can't always go with that. Like, my parents have no idea what those ads are. Like, my dad was like, this is what you do. Like, I'm worried.
Brenda would have no idea.
It wouldn't pass the Brenda.
Wouldn't pass the Brenda
check.
test.
No.
Yeah, Jill and Greco, no idea.
But I showed him to Chloe actually. Early on, I showed like the ambient rooms to Chloe. Like, she's sometimes been my check. I'm like, would you? Like, what do you think? Because
Chloe's a good check.
She's like honest too.
She's so honest with me. It hurts.
Yeah, she's honest with me, and it doesn't hurt. But
it hurts.
she's nice to me. But I do want to know, because I like, especially as I get older, I want to make sure I'm not like too far off, because it's weird for like elder millennials to be dictating what ads to show to people your age.
I got a funny one for yesterday. The kid, he told, his name was Kai. He said, dude, you're kind of ancient. And I was like, that's sick, man.
It gets worse.
He's like, you're kind of ancient, dude. And he was saying all these terms.
Nick's calling me Unc.
Yeah. It's just uncle. Yeah. It's just, it was weird. They're like this, really? The terms they were saying, I was like, that's a totally different language. Like,
no.
You guys are using words that I don't even know.
It's really, when the pop stars are younger than you are, which I think they are they starting to be?
Oh, yeah.
That's when it starts to hurt.
It's like,
or like the sports players.
Yeah, they're like
this guy's
22 18? And they got like 400 million.
It's
ridiculous.
Don't try. Yeah, that's why you have to find stuff you love.
Do you guys ever do focus groups before you actually go live with an ad, or is it kind of just
no? Because guess what? YouTube's the world's largest focus group, dude.
Yeah.
Quote.
Wow.
Put that, like, run your.
I'm clipping that.
Say that again. Can you say it clean?
YouTube is the world's largest focus group.
One more time.
YouTube's the world's largest focus group? Question mark.
Phenomenal.
I don't know. I think it is. I think it's a smart thing to do. I actually know an awesome agency who makes TV commercials, but they'll run them on YouTube first and see how they do, and then put that winning spot on TV.
That makes
like, why do a focus group when you can just
run it as an ad
and
on
see
YouTube?
how it does?
I just didn't know if, like, I've done a few focus groups. They're kind of fun to go in and test some stuff. I didn't know if you would bring in like a group of 50 people. To, like, watch
other teams
ads.
do. Yeah, other teams at Google do. Like, there's a culture team, a trends team that talks a lot to, like, I think younger people, just to see like, how is YouTube doing and how do we stack up in culture, and I think that's really interesting, but that's not my team.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What risks do you feel brands face if they don't fully embrace YouTube?
I think brands are, for the most part, paying attention. I think it's in my world, it's about embracing creators quite a bit, honestly. I think that's like, and most of them are, or they're creator curious, like they know they should be, but they don't know how. And I think we all need to be kind to them and hold their hand and like really take them along and because it's a scary place, like social media, and it's hard to be vulnerable and be like, I actually don't know what to do here, like help me. And so I think that's a big part of like the lucky position I find myself in, is I'm able to like hold their hand and like, we're in this together and we're gonna go find some weird stuff on the internet, and like, but maybe there's something that strikes gold.
Yeah, that's awesome. I got one more for you. Ready?
Yeah.
What is some advice to your 18-year-old self if you could go back and talk to 18-year-old Emma?
Just try more stuff, like I think, and hopefully it's changed for your generation, for my kids' generation, but like for so long you're supposed to graduate college and know what to do. And it's like, I think those are some of your darkest years, your early 20s, when you're like, oh, I feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or I'm in a job. I think everything is an experiment, and just approach it like the short film we made. Like if it bombs, if it's a shitty film, so be it. At least we did something. Like you don't just do it.
I love it.
Someone should use that.
There's a brand out there that should probably
just do it.
Just do more stuff.
Yeah.
I almost went and bartended in St. Thomas with my best friend, but then I became a paralegal. Like I should have gone to St. Thomas.
You were a paralegal?
I was a paralegal.
No.
And I learned so much, and it was actually such a good experience, and I wouldn't be at Google if I hadn't done that, because it taught me how to hustle. But I think, and it taught me what I didn't want to do. Like that's a lot of it too. Like it's not figuring out what you want to do. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Yes.
Like I don't want to work these hours. I don't want to work with these people. Yeah. So just do stuff, do more stuff, and like don't approach it as like forever. Approach it as an experiment. I just wish I'd known that earlier. And also like break up with that guy.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning to episode 131 of the 505 podcast. If you're still here, please hit the subscribe button, drop us a comment, and we'll see you all next week. Peace.
Later.